This segment of Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you by the Daily Herald.
Dan, we're a day before conference here. You guys head up north to Old Orchard Golf Course tomorrow for ESCC Championships. You're among the top four right now, a little bit of a cluster. How do you feel about your squad going into tomorrow's action?
I'm really optimistic. We started the year out really strong, leveled off, but I think we're now starting to pick it up again. We were in a Hinsdale Central invite just this past weekend, and I thought we did extremely well. We've got some great scores. Kids battled the elements and ended up finishing their rounds stronger than they started. So I was really pleased with the way the kids handled Saturday's wind and blustery conditions. It's going to be tough going up to Old Orchard. Completely different type of track. It's not wide open, it's very narrow. There's houses, there's trees, there's out of bounds, and you've got to hit the ball straight. St. Viator, that's their home course. They're ahead of us at this point, so it's going to be tough getting past them, but I'm really confident with how my guys are playing right now, and I'm eager to see how they rise to the occasion.
Now, ESCC, a very strong golf conference. You mentioned Hinsdale Central. Looking at your guys' schedule, there's a lot of teams that are in the state mix. I know in golf you play the golf course, not necessarily the other players, but how big is it for some of your guys to see some of the teams that are expected to do big things in October?
We play a lot of invitationals. Our conference plays triangulars, which opens up every Saturday for us. So we've seen all of the good teams that we're going to have to contend with through regional and through sectional. And I think the kids are pretty confident about how well they can stack up against those players, against those schools. At least in our regional, I don't think there's any one or two dominant teams as there has been in the past. It's wide open, I think, for any one of 7 or 8 teams who on a given day, if they perform, rise to the occasion, they're going to keep on playing. I'm hoping that one of those groups could be us.
Now we've talked about your guys' play that has been really pretty good for most of this year.
Yeah, it has been.
What's kind of been the foundation for that?
Some consistency. I've got a very strong number one guy in Alex Bassetto. Rarely is he going to post a bad number for us, and there are times when he's going to go really low, and that always helps us. On Saturday he went 75. In the opening invite at Naperbrook, the Red Hawk, he went really low. So sending out your number one and hoping that he can post a good score has been an asset to us. I gotten good play out of my juniors. Ben Johnson has risen to number 2. George Carroll has risen to number 3. And my seniors have provided some consistent leadership and filled some of those spots when we needed a good score. So it's been, I think, our balance more than anything else. But then again, having a pretty strong number one guy has been one of our strengths.
You mentioned Alex. He comes in last year, very decorated junior player, and very solid for you guys as a freshman. And he's obviously continued to make an impact on things here. Have you seen a player come in as a young guy and have the impact on the varsity level that he's had in your time here before?
I don't think immediately. Now, I've had some good kids who have played as freshmen for me. John Callahan comes to mind from the recent past. And John ended up as a sophomore, finishing 4th in the state. But I think right out of the box, Alex was able to make a huge contribution. He ended up with our number one average last year. He certainly has our number one average this year, and I don't think I've ever had that. He might not have played number one, but his average was number one last year.
Definitely. You mentioned some of that senior group that's provided some of the leadership and a little bit to help that consistency. Who are some of those guys? I know you have a couple of guys that have kind of been around the way a little bit when it comes to making an impact for you guys in conference play.
J.J. Van Ekeren had a nice Saturday round at Prairie Bluff, and Frank Farconio did well on Saturday and was a counter for us. So I'm eager to see how that continues on tomorrow.
And Ben Johnson, a guy you mentioned that's kind of risen his game a little bit. What's kind of been the thing that helped him kind of rise up in the lineup?
He's a very smart kid, and he's very, very consistent. Not a flamboyant guy, kind of low key, and he can post some good scores for us. And he played on our frost soft level, so he never experienced varsity competition, but walked in right away and really has thrived there.
Now, we were talking earlier, it seems like the perfect weather for really most of the golf season this year. October starts tomorrow. We get to the point where things start to change. You mentioned you guys dealt with some wind last week, but early on, you've seen your guys adjust quite well to weather changes.
Yeah, the only weather that we've had to deal with is the wind that we had on Saturday. And Prairie Bluff, which is where we're playing the regional, is just notorious for being a wind tunnel, even more so on Saturday. And I thought my kids handled it remarkably. I mean, I would have hoped for a windy Saturday invite just to get these kids used to that situation. And they handled it marvelously.
Does that encourage you a little bit as we get ready for postseason?
A lot more than I was before that tournament. Yeah, I'm really optimistic. I can't wait to see how we do tomorrow up at Old Orchard, and how we can do next Tuesday at the invite, or at the regional, the Naperville regional.
Now, with the foundation you had coming back and the success you guys have had this season, I would imagine there were some pretty big goals for this team. What were kind of the preseason expectations for this squad coming in?
We haven't won conference in a number of years, and when we were talking about whether or not we should go up and even play the conference course, because we have played it before, a couple of guys said, yeah, we're tired of not winning the conference, so let's go up there and play it. So last week we were able to get up there and at least play the back nine at Old Orchard. Winning conference, certainly advancing out of regionals is one of our goals. We were able to do that last year as a team, and I think it kind of set the stage for this year. And then hoping that we can have all of our cards in line and lay it on the line in sectionals, and maybe sneak out of there and advance as a team. I tell the guys when we started the year out really doing well at the McGonigal and at the Red Hawk that nobody really cares how you do in August. What they care about is how you do in October. That's when it really counts. Memories are made in October, and we're hoping to do that.
So what do you think needs to happen over the next couple of weeks for this squad? You mentioned those goals, for those kind of things to be achieved here.
We need to have Alex continue to lead us. We need Ben to continue to be consistent, and we need the remaining 4 guys, whoever those guys might be, to post scores that are going to count for us somewhere in the 70s. At this point, to advance to state, counting scores, above 77, 78, unless the weather is just atrocious, is just not going to do it for you. Every guy that I have has that number in their bag somewhere, and we're just hoping that they pull it out when they need to.
Definitely. Well, Dan, beautiful day for you to conduct a little practice here. We'll let you get back to it. Thanks for some time
I enjoyed
today.
it. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.